Little People's Amy Roloff breaks down in tears in an emotional new video as the family splits up their $4 million farm. The TLC star talked about her past trauma after a misunderstanding with her husband Chris Marek. In the latest episode of Little People, Big World, fans watched Amy and Chris brainstorm about how to plant the reality star's herb garden. After her husband reiterated the decision plan, Amy chirped, "That's why we're talking about this and having a visual." A disappointed Chris joked, "I thought it was clear." To which Amy quickly corrected, "No, don't assume that. It wasn't clear to me." She added, walking toward where his garden would be planted, "We're looking at this differently, and our words and comprehension is different." In an attempt to defuse the argument, Chris said, "I know we're just apples and oranges sometimes." Amy fired back, "Well, just be patient. So what if I didn't get it?" In a confessional, Chris said, "In my mind, I feel like I'm explaining it very well, very logically, and it makes sense. No argument needed, and sometimes I get a little frustrated because Amy's not catching on." Back in the yard, the couple sits together and agrees that a plan has been hatched. Amy said fondly, "See, we can still work together, baby." Chris puts his foot in his mouth again as he responds, "I just have to hammer it out." Amy says, "You can't think like that. Hammer it out." Chris then explained, "That's a business term. It's an expression," adding, "Don't get so offended." Amy admitted, "I am sensitive to that. You're right." She then revealed, "I think it has a lot to do with trying to be so careful about my image and how people look at me throughout my whole life. Because all it takes is one little thing and poof, you're dismissed." By her own confessional, Amy said, "There are moments when Chris may say something and it's innocent on his part, but to me, it's like, what are you doing? I do have a tendency to be a little more sensitive because I still have that old adage from growing up trying to fit in, trying to meet other people's expectations. Those elements, I know, definitely came into my marriage with Matt. There was a lot where I didn't feel as supported or encouraged, and when you have that a little bit over time, it can deflate you." Later, Amy and her husband Chris discussed the disagreement. Chris then said, "I think early on that I had to push Amy sometimes to talk about stuff." Amy quickly started explaining, "I think part of me struggled internally. I was also afraid that if I didn't say something right, he'd be walking out the door." Amy then started breaking into tears as she revisits her hardships growing up. "There are moments that go back to my childhood. I'm just glad he thinks I'm good enough." Chris then leans over his wife and whispers, "More than good enough." Fans have revealed they think Amy looks happier with her current husband Chris Marek than ex. Amy shared photos from her and her husband's date night on Instagram with the caption, "Date night with my handsome man," hanging out in downtown Hillsborough Friday night bites and listening to CBD Band. The first shows the TV star beaming with delight as she snaps a selfie with Chris, who is wearing sunglasses, outside. The next photo in the post is a recording of the aforementioned CBD Band singing a folksy, bluegrass country music song. The last photo shows Amy smiling at the camera as she prepares to dig into a giant cup of ice cream. Amy mentioned sugary treats in the post caption, writing, "Got to spend the night with ice cream." Fans flocked to the comment section to show their support for Amy and her second husband. One fan wrote, "Never seen you so happy, Amy. I knew Chris was a good choice for you." A second person wrote, "Great to see you happy and enjoying life with Chris." Another added, "You look happy and amazing." While other fans shared similar sentiments, writing, "May I say, you look so much happier these days and I just love you two together." In last season's finale, Amy angrily confronted Matt and accused him of causing a nasty dispute over the sale of the family farm. Matt put a 16-acre of Roloff farms up for sale on May 12th for $4 million. Amy blamed her ex-husband for creating a hornet's nest with the decisions. Matt defends himself by saying there are 93 acres in this family. Amy quickly interjected though, "No, there are 93 acres for Matt Roloff." In a confessional, the family matriarch says that she doesn't see any kind of ownership on Matt's part. Matt revealed that he feels his sons, Zach and Jeremy, have an air of entitlement. Again, Amy shot back, "You keep buying them ATV bikes every time they turn around. Don't blame it on me." Matt challenged Amy, first admitting that she talks about her mistakes a lot and then asking Amy, "Have you talked about your mistakes?" The part of Roloff farms up for sale once belonged to Amy. Amy sold 32.28 acres of land on August 13, 2020 for $975,000. Matt took out a loan in the amount of $825,000 to exchange the property. Matt put 16 of the 32.28 acres on the market after renovating the original home and adding more features.